was wondering when you were finally gonna show.
Welcome to the Horror Movie Showdown, episode 101. It's been a while since the last episode. Actually, it's been almost 2 years, and in that time Hollywood has been turning into a bit of a horror show itself. Famous actresses have been pumping themselves full of Ozempic, getting that signature hollowed out zombie face, while male sex symbols have had their faces stretched into unrecognizable shapes. Like, what were they thinking?
What are they?
Surgical failures. They live here. Too many implants and facelifts over the years.
The only thing that has been worse than those bad face stretches has been the movies. And no wonder they have flopped harder at the box office than Floppy Bird. But luckily, the Ebbemonster is here to lead you through the junkyard, to point you to the few good horror flicks actually worth your time the last 2 years. I've picked 6 movies, and the last one is going to be wild. Yeah, sorry guys, but YouTube has been mandating me to say this to maximize watch time and engagement. But let's get started. Speaking of youth-enhancing drugs, the first movie is The Substance, starring everyone's favorite stripper from the 1990s and everyone's favorite cougar from the 2000s, Demi Moore. She's playing the sexy aerobics instructor, Elizabeth Sparkle, who has lost her sparkle and is about to lose her job because she's gotten too old. Despite looking insanely hot for a 62-year-old, it's just not enough for Hollywood.
I'll make it simple. We need her young. We need her hot.
Overhearing the bad news, she is desperate to keep her career going, so she seeks out The Substance, a black market drug that rejuvenates and replicates your cells and creates a younger clone of yourself. With my PhD in molecular biology, I can totally confirm the scientific accuracy of this movie. People give birth to younger versions of themselves through their backs all the time. Elizabeth swaps back and forth, 1 week as her sexy young clone and the next as her older wrinkly self. If she switches too late, the other self starts falling apart, so you can probably see where this is heading. I totally get why she would want to stay her younger self forever, as she is so much hotter. The movie's themes are as subtle as a neon sign during a blackout. Its commentary on modern beauty culture is right in your face, and this will definitely turn some people off, but I quite enjoyed its vibrant aesthetics mixed with body horror. It is Cronenberg on steroids. The movie makes several references to Kubrick's The Shining, like the carpet and the bloody hallway, and with Elizabeth spiraling into madness just like Jack Torrance did.
Here's Johnny!
Though body horror isn't really my cup of tea, as I'm quite squeamish when it comes to needles and nasty bodily fluids, I reckon that The Substance could become a cult classic. It has tons of full frontal nudity, it only has 2-ish death scenes, and while the movie is grotesque, uncomfortable and nasty, it will have to settle with a scariness score of 3. Even though I will probably never rewatch the movie, its great pacing, excellent acting, beautifully disturbing aesthetics, it still deserves an overall score of 8. It's pretty damn good. Now from the disturbing to a guilty pleasure, next is Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th installment in my all-time favorite horror franchise. So does it stack up to the predecessors? Hell yeah it does! In the Final Destination movies, death is unavoidable. If you cheat death long enough to have children and grandchildren, then when you eventually die, death will instantly move on to your kids and grandkids. That's the simple premise of the movie, and this time the creators have had too much of a blast with it. They clearly had no intention of Disneyfying Final Destination for modern audiences. The movie even features 2 of my favorite death scenes of the franchise, though both unfortunately were somewhat spoiled in the trailers. Actually, Final Destination 6 is my second favorite movie of 2025 so far, but it does have a couple of flaws keeping it from perfection. First, the older movie's death scenes somehow looked sharper than this CGI splatterfest. Second, the movie is about 15 minutes too long. And finally, most characters were completely forgettable, except this guy who was hilariously unhinged. You will definitely have a blast with this one. People at the cinema were in awe several times. I think no one with piercings will ever step near an MR scanner after watching this. The movie racks up 24 on-screen deaths, plus maybe 50 or so more happening off-screen, which is enough for a shared 4th place. In terms of scariness, it matches Final Destination 3 with a score of 2. It is more fun than frightening. It has no nudity, and overall, it's such a fun time, it gets an overall score of 7. Fingers crossed they won't put the franchise on ice again. If you can, go into the next movie blind. It is Abigail. Pause the video now and skip ahead. Now to the spoilers for those of you who have stuck around. You probably already know that I love From Dusk Till Dawn, and Abigail feels very much like a throwback to this kind of movies from the 1990s where a group of people are locked in with some monsters and have to fight to survive. The premise is straightforward. A group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of some rich and mysterious underworld figure, and they have to hold up in a remote mansion for 24 hours to collect their payday. But nothing is as it seems. Boom! Abigail is a vampire, and they are the buffet. Yeah, it's exactly the same premise as From Dusk Till Dawn, and it just works. Especially thanks to the practical effects and the charismatic criminals. My favorite character has to be that of Dan Stevens. He has so much X-Factor, and I also really loved him in previous movies like The Guest, Eurovision, and I'm Your Man.
Are you gay?
No, of course not, I'm Russian.
Here he does it again. He's an unlikable, charming bastard.
Don't ever fuck with me.
Interestingly, the directors of Abigail did another Trapped with Killers movie earlier. But I much prefer Abigail to Ready or Not. The endings of the two movies are weirdly identical. The movie delivers 6 gory kills. The younger crowd will probably find it a little bit scary, so it gets a scariness score of 5. A few naked statues in the background is not enough for a nudity score any higher than a 2. Overall, the movie doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it is just so well paced and fun. It's a real popcorn flick. It gets a score of 8. No comeback episode is complete without a travelsploitation movie. The next movie is Dangerous Animals. Channel veterans will know how much I love the subgenre and how few highlights there have been in recent years with just 47 meters down and Influencer. The trailer for this one had me 50-50, but it turns out the movie has everything the fans want. Young travelers far away from home? Check. An exotic location? Check. Beautiful girls in bikinis? Check. And danger lurking in paradise? Check. We follow the street-smart and free-spirited surfer called Seafer. So her name is basically Surfer? How didn't I realize that until now? Anyways, she crosses paths with this emo guy who blackmails her into fixing his car as he catches her stealing a bucket of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. They hook up and he may be the one, but Zephyr bails to catch the early waves. It's also here she runs into the best character of the movie, Bruce Tucker. Bruce survived a shark attack as a teenager and has been shark obsessed ever since. He basically runs shark tours, where the tourists are the food. It only seems fair that humans offset their yearly killings of almost 100 million sharks and their CO2 travel footprints through eco-reparations. The plot is straightforward, following in the footsteps of movies like Wolf Creek. But what makes this one great is that the characters all act rationally, which is rare in movies these days. The movie has a modest 4 kills.
Welcome aboard.
It only has enough skin for a nudity score of 3. And it's only scary enough for a scariness score of 4. Overall, it's tense, well shot, and way better than expected. Sure, it will win no Oscars, but it knows what it is, and it is damn entertaining. It gets a score of 7, joining a lot of the other great travelsploitation movies. I think most people remember that wild Joker scene on late night TV. Swap the Joker for the devil, stretch it out to 90 minutes, and you have Late Night with the Devil. Jack Delroy is a failing late night host desperate for higher ratings, and to get them back up, he prepares a Halloween special. Framed as a behind-the-scenes documentary mixed with found footage, it nails that grim 70s feel. Tension builds as Jack parades occult weirdos on stage. He kicks off with the overly dramatic psychic Christo. Next, the skeptic Carmichael is brought on. He's a professional debunker based on the real-world magician James Randi, who actually on live TV debunked a guy just like Christo. But is Christo a fraud?
He is really suspicious, you know. I'm having a hard time with you.
I'm sure you can imagine how the movie plays out, but I still think it would be a shame to spoil it, as it is pretty good. Is the devil actually present at the show, or is it all a big stunt to boost ratings? Everything from the pacing to the acting, sets and progression is quite excellent, and it is close to being a perfect genre movie. The only thing holding the movie back is the ending of the movie featuring bad CGI, but I would still give the movie a score of 7. It is the best original horror movie in years. Oh, and it has 4 kills, no nudity, and a few scary scenes, giving it a scariness score of 6. On to the final mind-blowing movie that totally deserves a like, a subscription, a share, buying my merch, sending Bitcoin, buying my NFTs, and buying my new launch crackers. Because this movie is cracking. The movie is What You Wish For. I quite enjoyed Nick Stahl as Galvin in the cult classic Disturbing Behavior from 1998. And then he got his big break in Terminator 3 as John Connor. It was supposed to kick off further sequels in the franchise, and he was going to be the next big thing. But then it underperformed and Nick disappeared from the spotlight. But then he showed up in this hidden gem. I went in blind, and so should you, because then the movie will take you for a twisty ride in one of the most fun and unexpected horror movies in a while. Ryan is a struggling chef who has gambled himself into debt and has fled to Latin America to seek refuge at a friend's place. His friend is also a chef, but he is successful, living a lavish life traveling the world.
Now I read somewhere that the reward always matches the atrocity.
When Ryan gets the opportunity to get in on this lifestyle, he takes it. And from here on, it is hard to say much without spoiling the movie. But I can say that it is dark, tense, with killer twists, and I think you will eat it up. It has 4 unimpressive kills. As most modern movies, it has 0 nudity. The movie is tense enough for a scariness score of 4. And despite being quite low budget, the movie gets an overall score of 7. I can highly recommend it. I love it when low budget movies are positive surprises like this one. Actually, out of the 6 featured movies, 4 of them have been independent movies, allowing for a bit more experimentation and edge. I guess now that we're caught up on the last 2 years, we can go back to the single movie episodes again. This concludes this episode, so thank you for watching, and I will catch you later.